बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। बोलिए राघवेंद्र सरकार की जय। अज्ञान तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जन शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन कृपालु गुरवे नमः। व्याधस्याचरणं ध्रुवस्य च वयो विद्या गजेन्द्रस्य का कुब्जाया किमु नाम रूपमधिकं किं तत्सुदाम्नो धनम् वंशः को विदुरस्य यादवपते रुग्रस्य किं पौरुषम् भक्त्या तुष्यति केवलं न च गुणैर्भक्तिप्रियो माधवः। नमः कमलना भाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Devoted souls, let's sing from Prem Ras Madira by Jagadguru Uttam Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj. The words are Chali haan dulhini bani sasurar. Meaning is, I, meaning the soul, I am now a bride going to my divine marital home. A Rasik saint, as the supremely benevolent priest, has arranged my marriage to Shamsundar. The Atma unites with Paramatma. Now I have renounced the four aims, dharma, arth, kam and moksha, knowing them to be playthings from my childhood. My mind, my intellect, chit and ego are the four palanquin bearers accompanying me to my marital home. In the olden days, the bride would be carried in a palki, a palanquin, carried by four men. They're known as kahar, palanquin bearers. Until now, I was unmarried. Now I am married to Shamsundar for eternity. Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj says, my marital home, my sasural, is where Maya and time cannot gain entrance. The divine abode of Bhagwan Shri Ram, the divine abode of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ, दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ, दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ, बनी ससुरार चली हाँ, परम हितैषी परम हितैषी रसिक पुरोहित परम हितैषी रसिक पुरोहित परम हितैषी परम हितैषी रसिक पुरोहित परम हितैषी रसिक पुरोहित ब्याह्यो नंद कुमार चली हाँ, ब्याह्यो नंद कुमार चली हाँ, ब्याह्यो 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 नंद कुमार चली हाँ, ब्याह्यो नंद कुमार चली हाँ, दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ, दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ, गुड़ियन खेल गुड़ियन खेल समान जानी अब गुड़ियन खेल समान जानी अब गुड़ियन खेल समान जानी अब चली हाँ
तज्यो परारथ चार चली हो
दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ
दुल्हनी बनी ससुराल चली हो
दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ
दुल्हनी बनी ससुराल चली हो
चली संग ले चली संग ले चार कहारन
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 मन बुद्धि चित हंकार चली हाँ
मन बुद्धि चित हंकार चली हो
मन बुद्धि चित हंकार चली हाँ
मन बुद्धि चित हंकार चली हो
ब्याह्यो 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 नंद कुमार चली हाँ
ब्याह्यो नंद कुमार चली हो
दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ
दुल्हनी बनी ससुराल चली हो
अब लौं रहे अब लान रहे कुमारी आज ते
अब लान रही कुंवारी आज ते
अब लान रहे कुंवारी आज ते
रही कुंवारी आज ते
भई सुहागिनी नार चली हों
भई सुहागिनी नार चली हो
भई सुहागिनी नार चली हों
भई सुहागिनी नार चली हो
दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हों
दुल्हनी बनी ससुराल चली हो
माया काल कृपालु ना रहा जहाँ
माया काल कृपालु न रह
माया काल माया काल कृपालु ना रहा जहाँ
माया काल कृपालु न रह
तहाँ ससुरार हमार चली हों
ससुराल
हमार
चली हो
तहाँ ससुरार हमार चली हों
ससुराल हमार
ससुरार चली हाँ
बनी ससुराल चली
दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ
बनी ससुराल चली
दुल्हनी बनी ससुरार चली हाँ
बनी ससुराल चली
बोलिए प्रियतम श्याम सुंदर की जय. Another one from Prem Ras Madira is Bani Kas Jori Yugal Kishore. The one we just sang was from Siddhant Madhuri, in which the mind is being convinced, or it is being explained to the mind what the mind must do. This is Yugal Madhuri. This is the sweetness of Shri Krishna and Radharani. Bani Kas Jori Yugal Kishore. Shri Radha and Krishna make a beautiful couple. My heart is stolen by both of them standing with arms around one another, submerged in divine nectar. From the corners of his eyes, Shyamsundar is looking at Kishori ji as Kishori ji looks at Shyamsundar from the corners of her eyes. The bluish light from Shyamsundar's body is falling on Shri Radha, and the golden light of Radharani's body is being cast on Shyamsundar. Yellow garments are gracing Shyamsundar's bluish body, and the blue clothes are gracing Shri Radha's fair body. Shri Maharaj ji says, Jagadguru Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj says, Sakhi, their side glances, the way that Radha and Krishna are watching each other from the sides of their eyes, those sidelong glances are extremely dangerous. Put a black mark on their forehead to ward off the evil eye. जोरी युगल किशोर बनी कस
जोरी
युगल किशोर
बनी कस
बनी किशोर बनी कस
जोरी युगल किशोर बनी कस
गरबा रस भीने
गरबाही दीने रस भीने
गरबा दीने रस भीने मन मोर बनी कस मन मोर बनी कस बनी कस जोरी युगल किशोर 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 बनी कस श्याम गौर दृग गौर श्याम दृग 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 चितवत दृग की कोर बनी कस 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 बनी कस जोरी युगल किशोर बनी कस जोरी युगल किशोर बनी कस श्यामल मुख दुति गौर गौर मुख श्यामल मुख दुति गौर गौर श्यामल मुख दुती गौर गौर मुख
श्यामल मुख दुती गौर गौर मुख
श्यामल दुती चित चोर बनी कस
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 चोरी युगल किशोर बनी कस
चोरी युगल किशोर बनी कस
पीत वसन तनु नील इतै उत
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 नील वसन तनु गौर बनी कस
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 बनी कस
बनी कस
जोरी युगल किशोर 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 बनी कस
कहा कृपालु सखी कृपालु सखी देहु दिठाना
कृपालु सखी देहु दिखाना
दीठी दुहन बर जोर बनी कस
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 बनी कस
बनी कस
बनी कस
बनी कस
जोरी युगल किशोर 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 बनी कस
बोलिए युगल सरकार की जय, श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. Devotional listeners, may I request your full attention now. As we walk on the path of devotion, we try diligently to bring God into our hearts. We practice devotion in two ways. One is karm sannyas sadhana, the other is karm yoga sadhana. We have understood very clearly that some of our very precious time must be spent alone with God and Divine Guru Dev. In other words, we must take out at least 1 hour every single day in which to go off in solitude and practice devotion. In other words, we must battle with our mind to bring God into the mind, to bring our Divine Guru into the mind. That is karma sannyas sadhana. We've also understood that in this age of Kali, the only way that our mind will be attracted towards God is by chanting the holy name and by singing the glory of Prabhu Shri Ram. It is only by singing the names, the attributes, and the pastimes of Bhagwan that our mind will be willing to go towards God. Kali Juga Keval Nama Adhara. Harer Namaiva 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 Mama Jivanam. There are many testimonies from the scriptures that tell us this. And then we must also engage in Karma Yoga Sadhana. While performing works of the world, we must diligently and we must very cautiously bring God into the mind. We must exercise great caution in that the mind does not become totally absorbed in the world. So every hour on the hour, perhaps, for a moment or two, we must think of God. Just to make the mind accustomed to thinking of God. Just to convince the mind that we are not alone, God is also here. Our Bhagwan is also here. So Karma Sannyas means that you renounce all duties, works, chores, responsibilities, and dedicate that time only to God. And karma yoga means that you are doing your duty, but yoga, the union of the mind with God, is also there. While doing this, we must keep in mind that earning sadhana is not as important as protecting it. An individual may earn thousands a day, but if he's spending tens of thousands a day, then he is going to be in debt. You may say thousands a day, in one day he's earning 10,000, that's a lot of money. It is, but he's spending 15,000 a day. So we must accumulate devotional merit, but it's even more important to protect what we are accumulating. We must stay away from kusang. Kusang. Sang means association. Ku is a prefix, and that means wrong, bad, or harmful. Association, the associations we have with people and objects of the world, that association may be a good one, very healthy and beneficial one, then it's called susang. Susang or satsang. If it's bad, it's called kusang. Kusang. We are practicing devotion in these two ways, but then we spend the whole day, most of the day, in thinking of the world, worldly matters only. We spend largely the day, most of the day, in gossiping. And we feel very complacent that we have done our duty, we have done our devotion. But what is going on is that we are losing the devotional merit that we have accumulated with such, it was so difficult to accumulate that, but now we've lost it. So we must be very cautious about staying away from kusang. Kusang. In Narad Bhakti Darshan, sage Narad says, Dusangaha sarvathaiva tyajyaha. Dusang or kusang means the same. Kusang must be renounced completely. Completely renounce kusang. Don't do even a little bit of it. Don't tolerate even a little bit of it. Our mind says, oh, what's the big deal? He came and he talked to me. He's such a fool. He talked to me about that saint, and he said he doesn't believe in him. He said this and that. I just listened to him politely. I'm not affected by what he said to me. But we are affected. We become affected. Naradji says, Tarangayita api me sangat samudrayanti. Narad Bhakti Darshan, Narad Sutra number 43, the earlier one, and this is 45. Naradji says, be very careful, because just a small wave of kusang will soon become a whole ocean of kusang. It will seem like there's no end to it. It seems very small right now. It's just a wave, small wave. How dangerous is a wave? No. That wave will soon become a whole, samudra, meaning ocean. Small kusang becomes huge, and then we will not be able to get out of it. It will affect us so badly. And remember, we are in sadhana avastha. We are sadhaks. We are not very advanced in devotion. We are babies. We are just learning how to walk. And then we become victims of kusang. We should not willingly become victims of kusang. We must avoid it at any cost. In his scripture, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the great Rupa Goswami has said, Bhavopya bhava mayati Krishna preshtha paradhataha. Even if you have reached Bhav Bhakti stage, which we have not, but even if you reach a very high stage in devotion, which is called Bhav Bhakti, you can still fall down. You can still fall down if you're not careful. You see, first we do devotion, we practice devotion. This is sadhana bhakti. Then comes bhav bhakti. We become very good at practicing devotion. At the bhav bhakti stage, we don't have to convince our mind. We don't have to threaten our mind. We don't have to plead with our mind to think about God. Oh, please think about Bhagwan Sri Ram. No. We come to a point through practice that the mind delights in thinking about Bhagwan. The mind just cannot get enough of thinking about God. And then there's a step above, and that is the final step, that is God realization. So Bhav Bhakti stage is a very high stage in devotion. But even if you reach there, and if you're careless, you can come crashing down. Bhavopya bhava mayati Krishna preshtha paradhata. So where are we in devotion? We are nowhere. We're just beginners. We're novices. We cannot say, oh no, nothing will affect me. Everything affects us. Everything. People's words affect us. What we hear affects us. What we see affects us. What we eat, what we drink, what we read, what we watch, who we associate with, all of this affects us greatly. We are sadhaks. We are in the preparatory devotional stage. We hear about very great devotees who are very advanced, and they fell from that high situation. They fell down. Like Ajamil. Ajamil fell down. He fell into a very worldly state because of one moment of kusang. One moment, no more. Just one moment. He saw something, and that scene disturbed and perturbed his mind so much that he left his family, and he just left devotion. He left God. He left everything that was good in his life, and he became a very worldly fellow. He committed many wrongs. Saubhari was another. He was a sage who was meditating underwater. He would meditate in the Yamuna, underwater. He was so advanced. One day, he saw two fish mating, and he thought, I should not deprive myself of carnal pleasures. So he immediately made a plan to come out of the water. He transformed himself into a very handsome young man and married 50 girls, 50 princesses. He lived in 50 palaces with 50 wives. He had many, many children, and then grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And one day, he was sitting by himself, and he thought about what he had, what he lost, and what he had become. And he said, Aho imam pashyatame vinasham, are manushyo mera vinash to dekho. He said, oh humans, my fellow humans, look at what has become of me. I used to meditate underwater, and now I'm babysitting my grandchildren. Look at how worldly I have become. Saubhari Muni was very, very advanced in devotion. Another example that may surprise you is that of Kunj, the evil maternal uncle of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. He had put his sister Devaki and her husband Vasudev in prison. And, well, you know the story, I don't have to repeat it. He had killed many newborn children of his sister. But one day he became very contrite. He thought, what have I done? I have killed innocent babies. And he began to cry. And he went to his sister, he went to Devaki and Vasudev, he fell at her feet. And he said, I have committed such sins. I have given you so much trouble. Please forgive me. He asked for forgiveness. And he released them from the prison. Now they were free. Then he had a talk with his ministers. Well, they came to him. When they found out what he had done, they said, Maharaj, what have you done? "O king, what have you done? Do you not know the prophecy? Don't you remember?" And they talked to him and they talked to him. He listened to them. And once again, he captured Devaki and Vasudev, put them back in prison. It's in the Bhagavatam. Kshamagvam mama dauratmyam sadhavo dinavatsalah. He said to Devaki and Vasudev, "You are both such good people. You're so virtuous. Please forgive me for what I have done. You are very kind and merciful, and I am a sinner." He begged for forgiveness, but then he listened to wrong advice and once again imprisoned them. So kusang can wreak havoc, it will wreak havoc with the mind. We ask ourselves, I have practiced devotion not only in this life, but I'm sure I've practiced devotion in previous lives, and we have. Why have I not yet attained God? So then, the answer is given by Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who says, Hena Krishna naam yadile bahubar. Hena Krishna naam yadile bahubar. Tabhu yadi prem nahi, nahi bahe ashrudhar. Tabe janibo achibe aparadh achibe prachur. Tabe Krishna naam bij na hoy ankur. Mahaprabhuji says in his sweet words, he said, you think to yourself that I have taken the name of Shri Krishna many, many times, countless times, but I am not shedding tears for him. My love is not increasing for him. Why? It is because I become a willing victim of kusang. And I commit namaparad. I commit great and grave spiritual offenses, and all that devotion I do, it becomes cancelled. It's like washing your feet. Your feet are muddy. You wash them with clean water, and they become clean. What we do then is we put them in dirty water again. So the devotion we do, it's neutralized, the effects become neutralized because we are committing namaparad. Because, as I said, we become willing victims of kusang. We fall into kusang. We are not careful. It's like someone who earns a lot of money and then puts a whole big bag of money on the sidewalk. I'll come back for it in a while. He goes back, the fellow goes back, and that money is not there. Someone has made off with it. That is our devotional merit. We said, yes, I'm accumulating so much devotion, but then we see the world, we hear the world, we taste the world, we touch the world, we smell the world, we think about the world, we interact with the world too much. And all that devotion is reduced to nothing. So not only do we have to practice devotion diligently, we need to protect it diligently also by staying away from kusang. Kusang comes in many forms. It comes from people, it comes from places, it comes from objects, it comes from reading books and magazines, it comes from browsing the internet, it comes from social media, it comes from food, it comes from drink, it comes from so many different sources. So when we take in the world through our senses of sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch, we must be very careful as to what we are taking inside. Let's take food, for example. We may say, well, it doesn't matter what I eat, I just have to fill my stomach. But you are what you eat. We know this. Jaisa ann, vaisa man, we say in Hindi. And in English we say, you are what you eat. We are greatly affected by the food that we eat. I'll tell you a real story that I read about a young man who became a prisoner. Not because of any crime he had committed, he was a political prisoner. This was in India. His father was a freedom fighter, and the young man, he was also, he was doing social work, political work, and he was imprisoned. One day his father went to visit him, and the young man was distraught. The father asked, "Son, what's wrong with you, beta?" And the son said, "I don't know, father. I'm having these thoughts, terrible thoughts." "What kind of thoughts?" "I have thoughts of killing my mother." "But you love your mother." "I know, that's why I'm so distraught. Why should I have such thoughts? I don't understand." Well, the father made some inquiries. He went to the kitchen and he made inquiries. He asked, who is the cook? And they said, well, he was told that the regular cook, he was sick, and so he had sick leave. But in his place, there was a prisoner who was cooking the meals. The father said, "I see. Well, what is that prisoner in prison for? What's he being punished for?" "Oh, a terrible crime. He killed his own mother." Oh. So this man who had killed his mother, this prisoner, he was cooking the meals, and his vibrations were going into the meal, and this prisoner, this man who was eating the meal, he had the same thoughts. Food that we eat has vibrations in it. Those vibrations affect us. They do affect us greatly. We may not be aware of it. The kind of food we eat. And our scriptures tell us that the most beneficial food for us, the best food for us, is a sattvic food, vegetarian food. But just because it's vegetarian doesn't mean that it's sattvic, though. It should be vegetarian. It should not be overcooked, overspiced, overfried. It should be simple food. Fresh food. What we eat and drink affects our mind. Ahara shuddhau sattu shuddhi. Sattu shuddhau dhruva smritihi. This is a verse from Chandogya Upanishad, which says, if you eat pure food, your thoughts will become pure. And if your thoughts are pure, it will be so much easier for you to think of God, to do Rup Dhyan. You'll be able to think of Bhagwan Shri Ram so much more easily. What we read, what we watch affects us greatly. Who we associate with. There was a young man who told me, well, I don't drink, but I go to bars with my friends, and I don't drink. You will start drinking one day soon, because this is the nature of the mind. The mind which is controlled by Maya is not to be trusted. Now you are liming with your friends, you're going to bars and rum shops and this and that, and you say you're not drinking? How long? How long will your friends let you not drink? It's often not the enemies that affect us adversely, it's the friends. Come on, have a drink. Are you afraid of someone? You won't tell your wife? Someone told one of the satsangis, there were many satsangis with me in somebody's house, and I could hear this gentleman saying, "I won't tell Didi ji, have some beer." And this devotee said, "Actually, I really don't drink beer. I don't drink, period. I promise I won't tell her." And I'm listening to all this, and this young man is thinking, why is he after me to drink? Why? So it's not the enemies, it's the friends, actually. They will say, come smoke, come drink, do this, do that, try drugs. So the company we keep is going to affect us greatly. Because we are affected by peer pressure. The peer pressure may be positive, it may be negative. It's wonderful when peer pressure is positive. I want to get better marks, a student thinks, because my friend gets really good marks. I want to be getting good marks also. I want to get better marks than him. That's positive peer pressure. And then there's negative peer pressure that I don't have to tell you about. So we need to be very mindful of who we are associating with. You may say, well, in the other lecture you said, try to see God in everyone. Absolutely. God is in everyone, but befriending everyone is not going to be good for us. So in Hindi, there is a wonderful expression which is called dur se namaskar. It says, bow to him, but from a distance. Dur se, from a distance, do namaskar. Bow down to him, because God lives within him. But don't go near him, because his company is going to be harmful for you. So, dur se namaskar, you may remember that. Hopefully you'll remember that. Dur se namaskar. Respect everyone, but don't go near everyone. See God in everyone. But there are some people you should go near to because they are wonderful role models. They are going to inspire you on your path. But others you should stay away from. But do not disrespect them. Respect them all the same. Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans used to tell a story about the story that I'm going to relate to you. There was an elephant driver, a Mahavat, whose elephant went mad. So the Mahavat, the elephant driver, he ran through the village warning everyone, my elephant has gone mad, please go inside the house because he may come charging over here, he's uncontrollable, so please go inside. So everybody went inside except for one man. He stayed outside. He said, I have heard many lectures and I've heard in the lectures that there is Brahma in everyone. God is in everyone. So God is in me, God is in the elephant as well. So I await elephant Brahma. So the elephant Brahma came and trampled over him. This man was badly wounded. And when the elephant had passed through the village, the elephant driver and everyone else came out and they looked at the pitiable condition of this man, and the Mahavat asked him, did you not hear me give the warning that you should go inside, stay away? And the man said, I did. I heard you. Why did you not go in? Because God is in everyone. God is in the elephant as well. That's why I didn't move. The elephant driver said, you foolish man, you could see Brahma, God in the elephant. Why could you not see God inside of me? Why could you not understand that God from within me is telling you to stay away, to go inside? So your philosophy doesn't work. God is in everyone, no doubt. But there are some people you should stay away from, keep a respectful distance from them, and there are others that you should learn from and you should befriend. So, kusang means wrong association, bad association, harmful association. One of the main kusangs is to find fault with others, paradosh darshan, looking at faults of another. Jagatguru Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj used to say, if you're finding faults with another, then it clearly means that you are faulty yourself. If you are faulty, that's the only reason you're seeing faults in others. If you are without fault, then you would not see anyone's faults. We tend to ignore the huge faults that we have, and we see the very small faults or even perceived. We see those faults that are not really there of others. So we need to stay away from paradosh darshan, seeing faults in others. Parasya nindam paishunyam dhikkaram chakaroti yah. Padma Puran says, Parasya nindam paishunyam dhikkaram chakaroti yah. When you find faults with another, when you criticize another in your mind, then it is as if you are giving that person every virtuous quality that you have within you. You're saying, Bhaiya, you please keep these virtuous qualities. I have no need of them. And you know what? You give me all your vices. All the bad qualities you have, you give me. Give me those. And you take everything good that I have inside. And we would say, who would be foolish enough to do that? We, all of us. When we find fault with another, that's exactly what we are doing. So this is very damaging to our devotional practice. This must be renounced if we wish to make advancement on the path of devotion. The other person, let's say that person is faulty. Who is not faulty? Before attaining God realization, is there anyone who is not faulty? Na kaschinna paradhyati. Before God realization, everyone is aparadhi. Everyone is faulty. And we say, well, I like to look at faults of others. It's my hobby. It's something I like to do. A good pastime for me. Good, good. That's good. You like to find faults? Then look at your own faults. There are many, many faults that we all have within us. But our mind tells us that we are not faulty at all. Think about it. How many times has your mind told you that you are wrong? Our mind is the biggest fan, our biggest fan. Our mind never finds fault with us. We may commit the most heinous offense, but our mind will say, no, you're not faulty. You're not at fault, not at all, no. We come very highly recommended by our mind. Our mind recommends us very, very highly. So we should not be trusting our faulty mind. We must not trust this mind of ours that never finds fault with ourselves. It always finds faults with others. We must think, God is living within every creature. God is within every human and every creature. I'm finding fault with this person. So God, who is sitting inside, Bhagwan Shri Ram, is sitting inside this individual. How will he feel? How does he feel? Would he be smiling? Would he be happy with me? Or would he be feeling very sad? That, oh, this child of mine, he's doing something so wrong. He is keeping himself back. How will Bhagwan feel? The same Bhagwan who is in another person, the same God who's in me, how will that God be feeling? We have to think about that. And then there is a kusang which doesn't seem like kusang, but it will keep us back. And that is that if we go around and listen to everybody, a lecture is going on there, a lecture is going on there, a lecture is going on there, we go everywhere. There's some people who say, whoever comes to my mandir, I listen. I go and I listen. And I purify my ears. Kaan pavitra karte hain hum. I listen to everyone. It sounds like a good idea, right? It sounds like that's good. You don't leave anyone, you just listen to everyone. But this person is listening to everyone but not really accepting anyone. Just listening. He's a professional listener. He's listening to everybody. And he says, no, this one is good, this one is good, this one is good. And then he starts finding fault. I heard that in that mandir over there, and then I didn't agree with that. And I don't agree with this. I agree with some of what you are saying, I disagree with some of what you're saying. And then he'll talk about it. This one said that, this is. I wasn't really satisfied with the answers I got. So all life long he does that. All life long. He plays the fool. He just goes here, makes comments, he goes there, makes comments, and he's known as somebody who just goes and listens to everybody. Where is he getting? He's not getting anywhere. So, if you have settled on a philosophy of a guru, then go ahead and dig deep. Dig deep. In other words, get to know it very well. Follow it. Live by it. There's no need to go here and there. Respect everyone, but if you have found what you're looking for, then don't go around and keep on listening. Now it's time to do something. There was a devotee who wrote to Shri Maharaj, this is many, many years ago, and he said, Maharaj, I went to listen to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and I listened to so many, but Maharaj, they're all wrong. And Shri Maharaj wrote him back saying, why are you going around here and there listening? And who gave you the authority to judge these speakers? Who are you to judge anyone? And tell me, how is it that you have so much time that you go around listening to this one and that one? Why are you not doing sadhana? Why are you not practicing devotion? It doesn't make sense that you're not practicing devotion and you're listening to this one and that one, you're going around here and there. This is not what you should be doing. When I notice in different countries, different cities, different places, it's always the same thing, and that is when children or teenagers, when they listen and when they become convinced, they will hold on to that philosophy, and then they will not deviate from it. But if someone has listened to something else before, then they will not they're very likely not to accept the whole philosophy of even Jagadguru himself. They will follow him, but they will also do what they have been used to doing. They will do a little bit of this, they'll do a little bit of that. So there was a teenager who said to me, Didi ji, please tell my mother. She goes around and gets her and consults astrologers and so on. Is that something we should be doing? And I said, no, we should not be doing that, of course. But, so this young person, this young girl, she was wondering why her mother would go and consult astrologers when she's following Sri Maharaj's teachings, which tell us that astrologers should not be consulted. What business do you have going to astrologers? For what reason? You're going to this one and that one and saying, will I pass my exam? Will I get my promotion? Will I be able to keep my job? While doing devotion as taught by the Guru of Gurus, and yet going around here and there asking for other opinions, that does not make sense. So that is not, it doesn't seem like a kusang, but to read this and that, to read so many other books and to listen to so many others, if you have made up your mind that yes, this is what I'm going to follow, then that does not make sense. And that is also kusang, because as Tulsidas ji says, Shruti Puran Bahu Kahe Upai Chute na adhik adhik arujhai. You'll become more and more confused. It will be like, it's like a wild forest, jungle. The more you go into it, the more you become entangled. So the more you're listening, and if you're not satisfied, you say, this is not my guru, I'm not really satisfied, so I'm going to move on. And that's fine. You move on and find a guru. Once you find a guru and you're satisfied, you're doing sadhana, then do not go here and there, listen to this and that. If you're, let's say you're in the bhakti marg, you're on the path of devotion. Now, why would you be listening to a lecture on Gyan marg? Because you have already understood that Gyan without bhakti will not take you anywhere. It will not take you where you want to be. So why would you want to listen to a lecture about another path? You respect it, but you have your path to follow, follow it. You may say, but this road also goes to the same destination, and this one, there are 4 different roads, and why would you walk on all 4 of them? If you walk on all 4 of them, you will not reach your destination. Our lifetime will come to an end, but we are going listening here and there and there and there, And we think that's a wonderful thing because we're so open-minded. In fact, we are just undecided. That's all we are, undecided. We have not decided on one path that we will follow. I am not saying that you should think that no one else has anything to teach, not by any means. Many people, and that's also a kusang, to say that, oh, my guru knows everything and you, what you're doing, it's nothing. That is not right. To even think that, it's very wrong. But once you make up your mind, then why should you be doing something else? So that is also considered a kusang. I will conclude after we do a little bit of Sankirtan. Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
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 Bol Hari Bol,
Bol Hari Bol,
Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Ram Ram bol, bol Ram bol.
Ram Ram bol, bol Ram bol.
Sita Ram bol, Sita 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 Ram bol.
Sita Ram bol, सीताराम बोल, सीताराम बोल,
सीताराम बोल, सीताराम बोल,
राम राम बोल, राम राम 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 बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम
राम बोल,
बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम
राम
बोल,
बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम राम बोल, राम राम बोल,
राम राम बोल,
राम
राम राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम राम बोल,
राम 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 बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम
राम बोल,
बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
राम बोल, राम बोल, राम बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि 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 बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोल हरि बोल,
बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। Bhagwan Ram tells Vibhishan, and these words are recorded in Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas Ji's Ramayana. Baru bhalwas narak, baru bhalwas narak karta ta, dusht sang jani dei vidhata. Vibhishan, it is better to reside in hell than to be in the company of those who will take you away from the thoughts of God. The ones who will give you kusang, their association is so deadly, so dangerous, that it is better to reside in hell. Because their association will affect you negatively in this life, and then you will go with those thoughts into the next life and the next life, so this will continue for lifetimes. It is the God-realized souls like Tulsidas Ji who says, Ab main to hi janyo sansar, बांधी न सकई मोहि हरि के बल, प्रकट कपट आगार, अब मैं तो ही जान्यो संसार. O Maya, I am now wise to your ways. You cannot bind me anymore. You cannot control me. Because now I belong to Prabhu Shri Ram. You cannot control me. I'm not afraid of you, he says. Sahit sahaya taha basu jehi shat, hridayananand kumar, ab main to hi janyo sansar. Go and live in the heart of the one who does not have Nand Kumar, Shri Krishna, living in his heart. Go and control that one. Don't come near me, I am not afraid of you. Please note that Tulsidas Ji, Ram Bhakt says Nand Kumar. He's mentioning Shri Krishna, which means that Ram and Krishna are one and the same. He sees no difference in them because there is no difference. So Tulsidas Ji can say to Maya, I am not afraid of you, but we cannot say, I'm not afraid of you, Maya, and Maya tramples us. No, we need to be very cautious. We need to be afraid. Of course, if we are holding on fast to the teachings of a great master and following them, there's no need to be afraid. We must be cautious. Tulsidas Ji gives the example of a monkey. He says, Graha grihit puni baat vash, ta puni bichi mar, tahi piyai varuni kahiya kaha upchar. There's a monkey which is mischievous by nature. It's the most mischievous animal in creation, the monkey. And on top of that, the monkey is suffering from hysteria. It's a hysterical monkey. Now it's even more jumpy and more mischievous. Then a scorpion came and stung that monkey. The monkey is writhing in pain. It's become more jumpy and more mischievous. On top of that, some fool came along and gave alcohol to the monkey. Tahi piyaye varuni. Tulsidas Ji says, what will become of the poor monkey? Why should Tulsidas Ji be talking about monkeys? The monkey is our mind. There are countless sins of previous lives that we are carrying in our mind. On top of that, so because of those previous sinful actions, our bad sanskars are there, and they are wreaking havoc on the mind. On top of that, the environment of the world is very polluted. It's very impure. On top of that, the mind is controlled by Maya, and there are three modes of Maya, Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. The mode of goodness, the mode of worldly passions and desires, and the mode of ignorance. So all this is going on with our mind. So our mind needs a lot of protection. Our mind needs help. And we can give it the help it needs by being very cautious, by being very, very careful about what we put in the mind, what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we touch, what we smell, what we think, who we associate with. All this needs to be controlled. We need to be very cautious. And then we can be going along very happily on our path. And we will then be making progress. You'll feel that there's progress being made. There's no doubt about it. Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, my Gurudev, used to say, if you do as I say, just do it for a week or two, that's all, you will see great difference within you. And that is true. When you go into the ashram, when you go to India and you go to the ashram, you practice devotion diligently because that's all that's going on morning till night. And you see the difference. And if we can create a similar atmosphere at home, then how wonderful that would be. How wonderful that would be. So it's not enough to accumulate devotion. We must protect it also, so that anger, greed, hatred, pride, lust, envy, hypocrisy, they don't run away with it. They don't destroy it. We need to be very careful in devotional practice. And with this, I conclude this series of lectures. And tomorrow, I look forward to celebrating Ram Navami with all of you. Of course, there will be a talk also. Tomorrow, I'll be speaking as well. From 9 to 12, we have a celebration, we have a satsang. But this series of talks, I'm concluding now. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki Jai. Boliye Prabhu Shri Ramchandra ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jayati Jagad Guru Guruvar ki गाओ मिले आरती रसिकवर की गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिकवर की गुरुपद नखमणि चंद्रिका प्रकाश जाके उर बसे ताके मोह कमलाश जाके माथ नाथ प्रभ हाथ करे वास ताते हुए माया मोह सभी निराश आवे गति मति रति राधा वर की गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की अरे मन नरी नर हार गुरु बिनु ब्रह्म शाम होना देंगे सार कोमल कृपाल बड़े कृपा सिंधुनार पाके इन्हें आज तू अनाथ हो सना इन्हीं के अधीन कृपा गिरिधर की गाओ मिले आरती रसिकवर की गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिकवर की भक्ति योग रस अवतार अभिराम हरे निगमागम समन्वय लला श्यामा श्याम नाम लीला गुण धाम बांट रहे प्रेम निष्काम विनुदान हो रही सफल काया नारी नर की गाओ मिली आरती रसिकवर की गाओ गाओ मिली आरती रसिकवर की लली लाल लीला का सलोना सुविलास छाया दिव्य दृष्टि विच प्रेम का प्रकाश वैसा ही विनोद वही मंजू मृदुहास करे बस बड़ बस उच्च अट्टहास झूमी चले चाल रही नटवर की गाओ मिली आरती रस
गाओ गाओ मेरी आरती रसिक वर की। जयति जगत गुरु गुरुवर की। गाओ मेरी आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मेरी आरती रसिक वर की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नचवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नचवारी की। दुहुन सिर कनक मुकुट झलके। दुहुन श्रुति कुंडल भल हलके। दुहुन दृग प्रेम सुधा छलके। जसीले बैन रसीले नैन गसीले सैन। दुहुन मैनन मनहारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। दुहुन दृग चितवनी परवारी। दुहुन लट लट कनी छवि न्यारी। दुहुन भाव मटकनी अति प्यारी। दसन मुख पान हसन मुस्कान। दसन दमकान दुहुनी बेसर छवि न्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। एक उर पीतांबर फहरे। एक उर नीलांबर लहरे। दुहुन उर ललमोतिन छहरे। कंकनन कनक किंकिनी झनक। नुपुरन भनक दुहुन रुनझुन धुनी प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। एक सिर मोर मुकुट राजे। एक सिर चुनरी छवि छाजे। दुहुन सिर तिरछे भल भाजे। संग ब्रज बाल लाडली लाल बाह गलदार। कृपालु दुहुन दृग चारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। श्री राम श्री राम श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन। हरण भव भय दारुणम। नव कंज लोचन कंज मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुणम। श्री राम कंदर्प अगणित अमित छवि नवनील नीरद सुंदरम। पट पीत मानहु तड़ित रुचि शुचि। नवमी जनक सुतारम। पट पीत मानहु तड़ित रुचि शुचि। नवमी जनक सुतारम। स्थावरम् श्रीराम श्रीराम भजु दीन बंधु दिनेश दानव दैत्य वंश निकंदन रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल चंद्र दशरथ नंदन रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल चंद्र दशरथ नंदन श्री राम सिर मुकुट कुंडल तिलक चारु उदार अंग विभूषण आजानु भुज शर चाप धर संग्राम चित कर दूषण आजानु भुज शर चाप धर संग्राम चित हर दूषण श्री राम इति वदति तुलसी दास शंकर शेष मुनि मनोरंजन मम हृदय कज निवास गुरु कामादि खल दल गंजन मम हृदय कंज निवास गुरु कामादि खल दल गंजन श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुण नव कंज लोचन कंज मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुण श्री राम
बोलिए राजा रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, लाडली लाल की जय, जगत गुरु श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री